Hello and welcome to the 13th episode of the Mental Breakdown. My guest is Chris Hammer, the one and only Chris Hammer, an amazing wrestler. He's a state finalist in junior college. That's where I met him, at Sierra College. But I knew him in high school, actually, because he was well known in Northern California. And, well, we talk about those days. We talk about what kind of led him to where he is now. And we hadn't talked in a long time, so I found out a lot. I had seen him in the past. I saw him kind of blossom into weightlifting and see like, wow, he really kind of had a second coming of, that, being at the top in wrestling. It's tough. It's tough for any sport, any athlete, whether it's at the high school level, college level, or professional level. At some point you leave and it's difficult. There's some challenges. And I know he had some of those, and then he kind of refound himself in the weightlifting world, all natural. And so we talk about that, and he's doing great, still working out, still affiliated with the gym. And I think anyone who knows both of us will love this conversation, kind of catch up, because we hadn't caught up in a long time. There may be some people that are closer to him, and then they'll go, hey, Chris David, I remember that guy. And then some people maybe who are closer to me, but, oh, Chris Hammer, I haven't talked to him in a while. So I hope this spawns some more connections. That's what has been going on a lot with these podcasts. And then in the future, we'll have gotten all that off, and we'll just jump right in to some deep concepts, because a lot is going on in the world today, society and culture. Things are crazy. And we talk a little about that, and we will talk more, I'm sure. So let's get to it. Here we go. Boom!
All right. I did make sure to do this in front of a Dark Lotus back there.
That I was just gonna say, I saw that. That looks like a nice little tramp stamp style Lotus too. I like it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I appreciate that.
With the Dark Lotus, I have to.
That is amazing. That's excellent. Chris Hammer. It has been a long time, actually.
It's too long,
and we're going to catch up. But before we catch up, we have to go back in time travel a little bit. And just in case, I think for the most part, this little podcast here has been really good to reconnect with people. And then some people reconnect that know both of us, especially the people that know both of us will enjoy this. And probably only the people that know both of us will actually listen to, everything we have to say. But those people will love it and enjoy it. But just in case, we have to go back in time, kind of first talk about how we met and some stories we had together. And then even prior to that, and then we'll kind of catch up in the last couple decades or whatever. So, I mean, we, of course, met in Sierra College wrestling, although I did know about you before that because you were a badass wrestler. I think it was the Upper Lake tournament or something when we first, it was the Hammer Brothers or something. But you guys,
we went to that. I remember the Oroville team all with their purple hair and everything.
Okay. Oh wow, you knew me. I mean, because like when Oroville tournaments came down, we went to like Foothill tournament, Upper Lake, UC Davis one. We went to, what was that called?
Cal Classic.
Yeah, I mean, like when we came down south, because that's what we call Sacramento, is like Southern California.
Sacramento is south. Okay.
You guys, anything in south, anything there. So it was, I mean, but anyway, so give me, actually, I don't, the funny thing is, I don't even know that. I mean, I know you're from Fairfield, but I don't know about how did you get into wrestling? Let's just talk about that first.
Oh, my brother got into it first in junior high. I think he was in 7th grade. I was still in 6th, so I wasn't in junior high yet, but I got to kind of watch and stuff. But the next year, the junior high had cut their program, so I didn't get to wrestle.
Oh.
And then John went to wrestle at Fairfield High, and he was when he was in ninth grade, I was in eighth grade. That's when I kind of joined the freestyle team over at Fairfield High, and that's kind of where I started right there. So I got kind of a late start, like
Yeah, no, that is. And so you did freestyle first, so that kind of
yeah, I did a little freestyle. I mean, not a lot, not
but
like
plus, I
yeah.
mean, having an older brother, I mean, you're gonna wrestle with him, so you're probably learning some through osmosis just because he was whooping your ass and stuff coming.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
that's my story too. Yeah, I didn't start till high school, but my brother wrestled in high school and stuff and whooped my ass. So that's okay. Yeah, that is a late start. I actually, yeah, see, I don't think I knew that. I think I visualized you always wrestling, one of them little kids wrestling from like 4 years old or something, because you're such a badass. And then
Hey.
so I mean, badass wrestler. Those grades weren't always so good. So I know that was the thing.
That's why you found me at Sierra College.
What's that?
That's why you found me at Sierra College.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it's funny because we do get some. I mean, some of the best wrestlers could actually go to junior college instead of a D1 just because of their grade. I mean, I remember, yeah, Bobby Gonzalez, state champion, right? I mean, and coming in, I mean, we get like, I mean, it was an amazing experience for me because, yeah, everyone in the room. I mean, Cliff Clemens was, he whooped my ass in high school, and all of a sudden, I'm like, kind of not. I'm almost at the same level as these people. I just have to wait until their grades drop, and then I can start. But it's like I mean, I can hold my own at least to some degree. While in high school, I would have just got absolutely torn up. But you were always, yeah. I mean, you took second in state that year, that first year when with the last year of
Yeah.
yeah, that was
No.
but so anyway, but then so we're gonna talk a little bit about maybe some stuff. I do want to catch up and get some new stuff, but we do have some good stories like Taco Bell parties. We got to talk a little bit about about the Taco Bell parties. So that was when we were, well, there's a couple of stories, yeah. But basically,
I was over there living with Danny Curtis and a couple of his friends from Truckee, and I worked at Taco Bell, and so basically, I mean, we stole from Taco Bell a lot, and the end of the day, like a bag of meat or whatever that would have been thrown out, we took home, we put it in the freezer, and then like after we collected enough, we'd have these Taco Bell parties where we just come and cook it all at the house, and we'd all have, or at the apartment, and we would just have these big get-togethers. It was a good time.
Yeah, those are the. I mean, we had TB. We were up to like TB7 or something, and then you got me a job there too. So
I forgot we named them that. Yeah, TB1. All the parties.
So those are definitely some good memories. I mean, some of them were good. I mean, we even had them at Taco Bell one time, like a late night one or something. I mean, I remember that Taco Bell didn't really make.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we might be getting into a territory where we're speaking about illegal activities at this point.
Possibly, I don't know. Yes, possibly, but I think the statute of limitations over. I mean,
we definitely weren't supposed to have like 20 friends back behind the counter.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like, and there's some highly illegal activity going on in the White House, but it's like after 10 years, it's like it's okay. So I think it's been 20 years. I think the statute of limitation of TB parties are probably only about 7 years. I think they'd give us
okay, good. We're well past
that. But of course, yeah. So the thing about you, yeah. So I mean, you were the man, and then you weren't the man, and then now you're the man again. So give me a little bit about. I think because of the I mean, because you're such a badass wrestler and it's part of your identity, then it seemed like there was this period of time where you're kind of in a slump a little bit almost. And then I didn't talk to you all of a sudden. I just saw you and you're just like all natural, like, because you weren't in that good a shape for a while. Like, I mean, you were in shape, and then after, so I don't know the years after, and of course I went through we all go through different dark times and stuff, and I'm happy to talk about anything. And so yeah, well, I guess I look at it, and I kind of went through that same stage, like coming out of MMA and stuff. Is like to like, it's tough. It's tough to like recreate yourself. You realize, okay, part of my identity, which made me, that was I have to,
right.
you know,
It's
come
hard
up
to
with, I have
go
to
from,
re-identify as something,
it's hard to go from I exercise to do this better to now I don't do that. Why am I exercising? You know,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it gets, I think it's something you see a lot with wrestlers, you know, like
oh
you
yeah,
get your diet so intense, your workout regimen so intense that as soon as it's over, it just all goes to, you know,
yeah,
like I remember, you remember Coach Scott used to give us these graphs at the beginning of the year that had like the first day of the season, and then it would just go up, and that's the last day of the season.
yeah,
And there wasn't really much to it other than that. It just was
yeah.
like you're supposed to get better all year. That's the deep lesson behind it. I remember me and Danny Curtolo, we would take that last day, and then we would draw the line coming down after it, you know, and
Yeah.
along the way we're writing pizza and
Oh yeah.
McFlurries, because those were what we were craving, and during that time, like we would write all the things we were going to do after
Yeah.
once we're able to, you know, go to
Absolutely.
heck on it. And yeah, it was you definitely have a hard time like refinding your motivation, you know. Yeah,
Absolutely. So
yeah,
how
so
did you, how long, what was it? But I mean, uh, and
yeah,
what, yeah, why? Give me a story about that. Cause I actually, this is actually, now we're already getting into the realm of, I don't even know. I saw you just pop up one day, and you're just ripped and all natural and doing all these things, had a whole following and crew that were, you know, I mean, yeah, I don't know any of that
yeah.
stuff.
So it was, I was 32. So it had been about 9 years since I really wrestled competitively at all. And I just remember I was getting measured for a work uniform, and it was, and I was like, oh yeah, like 32 or something. And they're like, well, you know, let's try 34. And then it was like, 34, let's get you 36. Yeah, so it was like, yeah, I was like, holy smokes, you know, like I've gained like 4 sizes, you know, and just this, and you know, I'm just like thinking about it. And the the next day I actually went out and got a gym membership, which I just got like a prepaid 1 year membership, you know. And at first it was just like, you know, I just gotta lose some weight, because I don't know, I don't feel good about, like, I don't know,
So
the
wait,
way I
where were you working at that
look or
time?
the way
So
I,
this whole, what you said, you're working for a uniform. You're just doing some, just
yeah, it was
Taco Bell.
I was working in a kitchen of a casino.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so after, you know, a couple, probably took about a year to where like I was, you know, like, all right, I'm in good shape now. And so it was like, all right, now I'm gonna stop losing weight and just try to pack on some muscle, that kind of stuff. I did, you know, like I did little things along the way to help motivate me. Like I did some powerlifting competitions. I did some bodybuilding competitions, those kind of things, because I think, you know, like you're saying, wrestlers, we just have if we have a
Complete.
goal we're working toward,
Yeah.
you know, like we can really do it a little
So this is
better.
just 1 year after
Oh, well, I'm saying
you started.
after a year, I was
You started
like
getting in
where
that
I
mode.
started
Okay.
like getting into trying to do
Okay.
that stuff.
So
I
how hard were you working? How many hours a day, like, or how many days a week? And
was I
maybe
exercising?
after a year. So after a year, you're in it. Now you're
Yeah.
like kind of going. every day, 5 days a week or something, or what?
Yeah, I was probably going 7 days.
Oh shit.
But and maybe like hour and a half. Not like we did back then where we'd be like working out for 8 hours a day and
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
stuff. But I actually learned how to do it smart too, like I mean, God, if I had the knowledge of how to, you know, build muscle and build endurance and the fitness knowledge that I have now back then, I'd have done
Okay.
everything different, and I
Really,
probably
even going
wouldn't have.
against Tom Brands, because Tom Brands came and he gave his little like swinging your back workout, and we all kind of followed that. So you're gonna
I'm not going against that. I think
okay.
that is something that he made a good point, and it's what's called the SAID principle in my field, specific adaptation to implied demands, right?
Okay.
What you are specifically trying to do, you need to do things like that, right?
Okay.
You're gonna respond to the stimulus that's similar to what you're doing. So
Okay. So yeah, let's
so
talk about exactly. Yeah, yeah. Give
in
some
wrestling,
specific.
I'm not gonna get an underhook on you like this,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it on you like this,
Yeah.
right? So in training for wrestling and those kind of things, yeah, if you're looking for a different result, you have to have a different method,
Sure.
If
Sure. Okay.
if I'm just trying to build muscle, then yeah, I'm gonna isolate and I'm gonna do all those things. Yeah.
Okay.
For,
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, just in case somebody's listening didn't know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. So Tom Brands, Olympic wrestler, badass, did a show, or I mean, did a camp at Sierra College. Yeah, he chose to work out using your whole body, but yeah, it would be like the in a way that you would be defending yourself on a shot, and yeah, you'd put your whole body into it, put your back and hip, and yeah, weightlifters would look at it and just think like, oh, you're gonna throw out your back, or you're not isolating your muscles properly. But of course, the objective would be to put your entire body into a move. So
that's why I see a lot of, like on Instagram or whatever, there's, like people will do exercise a certain way and then everybody gets on like, you're doing that wrong.
yeah,
You're not isolating this and that. And it's like, you don't know what they're training for. You don't know
yeah,
why they're doing it.
yeah,
That's the difference. It's like one thing if it's going to hurt you, but like, sometimes you do things different and actually there's a reason for it.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
anyways,
So,
I digress.
yeah. So what about do you wrestle anymore? I mean, do you help out with high schools or colleges go, or I mean, or
No, I haven't gotten on the mat in a while. I was in Santa Rosa up until 2017, and I was helping out a little bit at Santa Rosa Junior College. I was wrestling around with them, but
okay,
haven't really got on the mat since then.
okay,
I'm old, man.
yeah, oh yeah, I don't
I got issues with my neck and stuff that
sure.
like I mean I
Yeah, I don't
can't do
at all anymore. I don't
uncontrolled movements anymore.
yeah, yeah. I'm
Um,
I'm yoga man. I do a lot of stretches. How are you, big stretch
yeah.
man? I mean, are
Yeah,
you?
yeah. I'm in the yoga room right now. I
Oh,
just
nice.
finished a
Oh
hot
yeah.
yoga class, and
Oh,
I've
nice.
actually turned the heat back on just for this because I was like, I'm in the hot seat here. So,
All
um,
right. Wow, nice.
so if you
Okay,
see
cool.
me sweating, it's
Yeah,
I'm basically in a sauna right now. But yeah, yeah, I like to do yoga. Yeah, like I feel like yoga is a good, safe exercise for my old body, and
yeah,
yeah, just what I mean, like at some point it's like whatever gets you moving, as long as it's something that's not going to hurt you and it's, I mean, it's one thing if you have a goal of trying to be a national champion wrestler or a, you know, world champion bodybuilder, those kind of things. And yeah, you got to be, but like for most people that are just trying to stay healthy, just like move,
yeah.
like move
Right.
and
Yeah,
move,
yeah.
whatever it
Absolutely.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's all I
sure.
do now is farming pretty much. I mean, I do a little workout, a little yoga, a little farm, but that's my main, I guess my main exercise is like digging ditches with the little or something.
Oh
Those
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that and that's
digging is like a hell of a workout, dude.
yeah.
Even back in our 20s, like, you know, I was working with like Gabe and his dad, you know, and it was like doing construction and stuff. And like, anytime I had to dig, dude, I'd be exhausted. And that's like when we were in tip top shape. It's like
Yeah.
farm work is serious exercise for sure.
Yeah. And it's good. Yeah, it feels good, dude. Just get your hands in the dirt and the sunlight and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. So have you eaten any meat since I last saw you?
That's a good question. And I'll say I ate some bugs here in Thailand when I first got here. I wasn't, so I'm vegan now. I wasn't ever vegan in America. I became a vegan because I was trying to get my girlfriend at the time. I was just I wanted her to be a vegetarian so we could, like, you know, share meals when we go out and stuff. So I showed her one of those videos that were like farm to table or something. And I didn't watch the whole video. I just watched the segments of the animals, and then I didn't realize it did the eggs and the dairy industry after that. And then so she wanted to watch the whole thing, and then it ended up like I was actually big on eggs and dairy, and then I was still in the mentality to get more protein. So when I came to Thailand, and I was still kind of competing and looking to fight, although it wasn't that I did a couple Muay Thai fights. I did try to do fish to get some more protein, but I didn't want to eat it. Like, I hated eating it, so I had to get drunk to eat it. And then I finally decided and it wasn't like real fish. Really, it was more like bottom feeders, like shrimp and clams. Those were actually, it's funny. It's easier for me to eat the, bottom feeders and bugs and stuff. And they eat bugs regularly here, like, like grubs and stuff. And I'd get them and then I'd put them on pizza, but I'd get hella drunk to eat them. And then, I was like, this isn't really the purpose of doing it. Was trying to get like, so no. To answer your question, yes, I went through a little bit of a trying to eat fish. That didn't last very long, and then ate a couple bugs.
You know what's funny is I can eat raw fish, but I can't eat cooked fish. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
Well, I guess because it kind of melts. Yeah, it melts in your.
The fishy smell comes out when you cook
Oh
it.
yeah.
But like, sushi and all that, I'll eat that.
Yeah.
But, I got nothing but respect for that. I've never been able to do it myself. I mean, I'm sure, like, there's, obviously it's possible I could, but
but no, if you don't want to, it doesn't make sense. Like for me, like I said, it's always been disgusting to me. Like, I had Chris Adams on here. He just told, I didn't even know I remember tearing his house apart and choking him out or something a couple times. He told me the story, and then I found out why. I don't remember why. It was because he cooked some eggs. At the time I ate eggs, but he cooked them in bacon grease, and it, like, to me, I mean, that would be like, coming in the food, or putting killing my cat and feeding it to me. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't want it. It's disgusting. Right. And it's actually like, would be like to do that.
I remember one time you ordered a chalupa over there at Taco Bell, and you ordered beans or whatever, and they had put beef on and like scraped it off because they realized it was beans, and you took one bite and you were just like, it was.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't even any meat on it. It was just like the residue from the meat.
Oh yeah, before. That's just, they'd just be like, just visualize to put yourself in that's just like cum residue or something that's just absolutely like repulsive. That not. Okay. I mean, I mean, but it's not. I never try to like force it on other people. Don't have to feel that way, but I do want them to understand that it's not like, it's actually not like I'm. See, if the case were that I were like, it was a sacrifice, and I'm like I don't expect people to, oh wow, you're so good for sacrifice. Like, it's not a sacrifice. I probably wouldn't do it. Was a sacrifice. If I enjoyed it, I probably wouldn't care. So it's not really like I'm not trying to be righteous by doing it. It's just like, this is my preference, and it's significant enough preference that it's gonna. I don't.
Yeah, and I remember asking you back then, and you were just like, my parents just never made stuff with meat, and so I never like developed that taste for it, and so just don't like it. Like, okay, well. Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Now, now, when you're talking about trying to get your protein and everything, um, doing doing that with a vegetarian diet, it can be very complex. And I just how much did you get into like the science behind
like amino
incomplete
acids.
protein, combining two things to create complete proteins so that they synthesize and all that, or I mean
Yeah,
knowing you like to deep dive into stuff, so
yeah, no, it is. I mean, anything. The like I got into macrobiotic counseling, which is looking at things. It combines science, kind of like, I mean, evolution in a sense, and like common sense and ancient human wisdom. And it puts all of them, kind of looks at all of the things, because science is complex. And if we just look at it as like, okay, what have people been eating for long times, looking at it from whether it's just ancient human wisdom or just everything, what it comes down to mostly on a very basic level. Now, of course, I'm not living in the environment that my ancestors evolved in necessarily, but to eat the foods that are locally growing in season and native to the area that's kind of like my base. That's where I start out at. And so I'm not trying. So I get more into it's also partly spiritual in a sense, in that way that to me, I'm not big on processed proteins, or to supplement. I'm not against supplementation. I'll take some, but not daily. Like I wouldn't daily supplement my diet. But there are things like, and it's not protein so much. I mean, because proteins are the building block of life, which is like, I know that's the argument. Okay, you got to focus on your proteins, but they're in everything. So if you're getting a wide variety of vegetables, and then of course some are more protein based. I mean, the beans and the peas and everything, but actually every vegetable has, these amino acid chains that if you're getting a wide selection, you're gonna get everything you need. But there are some things, it's like vitamin B12. There are things that are actually, you do need to, there are some things like nutritional yeast that I have, the omega-3s and stuff I get from like walnuts and stuff. But I mean, so.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you kind of touched on it, like getting the wide variety of stuff, because like you eat your beans and you say, oh, there's protein, but it's not. It's incomplete protein. But you have beans and rice, and now all of a sudden you've had full complete proteins that you're able to like synthesize as muscle and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my world I'm in now. I'm in the in that line of work these days. So yeah, just curious. I'm always curious when I talk with vegetarians that are actually concerned about their protein and stuff. Kind of how.
No, I mean, I see at that point. I mean, I actually came to, and then I think the main thing is just listening to your body on things, and I feel a lot when I cut. Like I think doing overloading on anything, doesn't matter if it's almonds or bananas, anything, even it's generally probably not good to just overload on something. And I was overloading on almost the entire time you knew me and everything, because I had this concept of protein deficiency. I would just eat extra eggs and extra milk, and I just don't think that was healthy. I wish I either cut that out or just when I didn't eat extra, I would have just ate the normal amount. But like even when I first came to Thailand, I remember just overloading on eggs. It just I mean, eat like 12 eggs a day or something. It's like, and I'm not. I mean, there's different. I think from bodybuilding, if you're really I've never really been tried to gain mass. I was just like protein to.
And I mean, bodybuilding's not a healthy lifestyle either.
Okay, yeah, that if you're
as like just living your whole life that way, So yeah, that's great. In balance is good. Yeah.
So yeah, I think cool. I think my diet improved by not by just not focusing too much on not worrying about the protein, and just like if you eat healthily and a variety. The more so, I think, because if like I think the meats and stuff are kind of like it's like in some way I'm cutting out the middleman, but it's also that's like a kind of everything all in one compact place. You can probably survive off less vegetables if you're eating meat. But my vegetables and mushrooms too. I guess mushrooms are the huge one because mushrooms are a completely different like life form than vegetables, and so that those are really I eat mushrooms every day. And Thailand has like there's like in a week I probably eat a variety of 10 different kinds of mushrooms. There's so many different mushrooms here. I mean, I guess there's mushrooms everywhere, but it's a large part of the diet, and they have interesting ones I've never seen before. So mushrooms are kind of fun.
Mushrooms to me are like meat for you. I just, I never like
yeah, there you go. Yeah, it makes sense. Some people hate mushrooms. Actually, so to go back on that, yeah, that was the story because my mom was a vegetarian. So that's why the meat was always like a side dish. She'd cook food. There'd be meat on the table, but it would never be mixed with anything because that's up to you if you want to take it. But she'd always have mushrooms and stuff too. And I didn't like the mushrooms. And the deal was because at 8 years old was when I first wanted to be a vegetarian, but my parents didn't let me because I didn't eat like my mushrooms and all the vegetables. So I actually have 2 years that I had to like kind of force meat. I didn't enjoy it. I had to like finally at 10 years old is when I was like, okay, I ate all my mushrooms and vegetables, so I'm not eating meat anymore. And then they said they were okay with that.
How about that?
How about that? Yeah.
Cool. How'd you end up in Thailand, dude? Like, I know you were like, I mean, you were like in India for a while, I think, and like Japan. And I mean, you've been a bit of a nomad for a while, and then like it seems like you've stayed in Thailand for a while now, though.
Yeah. No, and I'll be here. I'll die here. This is my land. That's actually part of. So we actually bought land. So whoop, let's back up though, because you're at questions. How did I get here? I was at the end. Yeah. Of course, I went visit India a couple times. That was kind of like my first Asian experience. Of course, that's like South Asia, Mid Asia, and then of course studying abroad in Japan. Always liked Eastern cultures and Eastern religions and Eastern, philosophies and so those were both completely different, but I was attracted to both of them. And then so I was always had those in the back of my mind, but that was still, that was early. That was like in college. I did both of those things. And then, just after I graduated from Sac State, I just started fighting, competing in MMA and, went to Russia and went to Scotland to fight. And then towards the end of my career, and I'm kind of winding down, but I haven't really fully accepted it. So I'm still kind of, that last trying to do something. And one fight, although it was my last fight against Joe Soto that I lost, but I was able to get like $5,000. Like, this is enough. And I was kind of in a toxic relationship and kind of doing drugs and stuff and going down because I wasn't in it anymore. I was still able to like do well enough because I had such a long career, but I was definitely like kind of not, I didn't have that fire. I didn't want to be the best in the world, or maybe I did, but I didn't actually have that fire to push me. So I was kind of on my way out in a sense, but Brody Farber's had some connections here in Thailand, and I hadn't. No, actually, I actually went to Philippines first, got deported from there because of incidences, and then was in Korea because my brother is still in the Air Force, and then kind of tried to get my shit together. Still had a little bit of money, flew to Thailand, and still was kind of in the mindset that I was going to be training. I was training at a gym. MMA wasn't big enough here. This is like 2012 to put it in perspective. And then, and I wanted to stay here. I really liked it. And then all those things flooded back. Thailand has some of the aspects that I had from India. There's Indian influence, the Buddhism, but like you go to a Buddhist temple, there's a lot of Hindu art and stuff that came, and but then there's also some Orient type style things that I had, all these things. And I had visited Thailand actually when I was in Japan, and I liked it. I only went to Bangkok, but now I'm in Phuket and stuff. And I'm like, actually, and I still was at that time I was drinking. I'm completely sober and everything now. But at that time I was kind of realizing that I'm retiring. And then, yeah, there's that darkness. There's that I could have easily spun out of control because Thailand has, you know, it's there's less like, I don't think you're going to get caught up as easily legally. You're just going to end up you'll go real down. They don't, for instance, they don't really patrol for their, like if you're drinking and driving, you know, you'll probably do it till you die. You're not going to get arrested for it. So it's like you're more responsible for your actions here. Luckily, that was good for me. I didn't like being controlled by the law. I think that always, I didn't think of, like, I'd drink and drive, and my only concern was getting a DUI, not this is dangerous and I'm gonna die if I keep doing this. So,
Right.
but I got into like a motorbike wreck here. I didn't even remember it. Somebody put me on the back of their bike and drove me home in the morning, and then, or I woke up back in my bed, luckily. But so basically, I went through some kind of you know, awakening and in some sort about like where my life was heading, and I needed to recreate myself in some sort. And at first it was just, okay, I want to stay in Thailand. I don't want to go back to America. I kind of like I had packed up everything and like put it away at Mike Kirkpatrick's house. I wonder if he still has it. There's Dan Marino rookie card in there, Cal Ripken Jr. But I sent him an email, told him he can keep it, but he never responded. I don't think emails, who checks their email. But anyway, so here I am in Thailand. I want to stay here, and I started teaching English, and it was an easy job. Now, luckily, everyone always said to me, "What are you going to do with a philosophy degree?" Because that's what my bachelor's degree was in, and I never used it for anything. I was just training, but it actually really helped because if you have your bachelor's degree, you can get a work visa. A lot of people teach English over here without the work visa, but they have to do these visa runs across the border to go to Myanmar or Cambodia and come back, and you're actually always on this tourist visa, which only lasts 3 months. So that was kind of my door in. It gave me a little bit more stability because I was able to get a work permit, and then I loved it. So then I just, and then I met my wife like 6 months after I was here. So like this is like a 6-month period. I did drink there's a couple more years, and I had another incident that really made me shape up. But basically it was a pretty quick transformation that I kind of was able to see, like, okay, I'm in a new realm, a new state. This is where I want to be. And then we did a lot of traveling around Thailand. Phuket wasn't like where we wanted to live. We visited up here in Chiang Mai, which is the north, in the mountainous jungle region, and we just started focusing on, okay, let's save up money to move here. And we just buckled down hard for like 5 years and was able to buy land, you know, it's like $30,000, but it's like an acre and a half on the river. I mean, it's an amazing piece of property that you would never be able to get something like that in America. And we were both, you're able to save up money here if you're able to make just a little bit over the cost of living. Cost of living is extremely cheap here, like rent, you know, a couple $100. Meals are like $1, but you're only able to make about $1,000 a month. Maybe but we're both making $1,000 a month, and we can live off one of our salaries. So with $1,000 a month, bam, 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 for 5 years, and we bought a beautiful piece of property. So so that's where we're at. And like I said, catch us up to a little bit, kind of extend your question. Yeah, this is definitely where I'm at for the rest of my life. And I want to die here. I want to create a land that I can just like kind of
so yeah, couple things I got out of that. Like, that's awesome to hear that you've gotten sober and all of that. I could tell you, you know, a big part of like, you know, why while you were here, before you had left, you know, like I hadn't probably hung out with you in a while, was like, you know, whenever I would hang out with you and Eli, you know, it's like, I don't even like to drink really, you know, like, and I would just like be blackout drunk when I'd hang out with you guys, you know, and it was like, so at some point I was like, I just got to stop. And then now it's like, I see you sober, Eli sober, Corey, Bonnet Country Sober, you know,
Yeah.
like all you guys have like, you know, I mean, I think it generally takes getting to a point where it's like,
Yeah,
boy, I better
you want to call Chris Adams out? He's not sober yet, but he's
no.
you know, okay. I kind of
You
want
know,
to.
I never hung out with Chris Adams anyways. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have those like holy crap, when I ever hang out with Chris Adams, I'm drunk.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
so yeah, and I think that's awesome. And I want to say I love this podcast you're doing, because being able to like to catch up with people, like, and actually get into like an in-depth conversation, you know, like is hard these days, you know. It's
Yeah.
I think about that, and it's like all those times I hung out with you guys and we got all drunk, and it's like, how did that even happen, you know? Like how did we end up in the same place, you know? Like you called me, and hopefully I was at home at the time that you
Yeah.
called,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that social media and everything, like in cell phones and everything, it helps you stay in touch, but only kind of in touch, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
where it's like you're like, yeah, I see what's going on in Chris's life, you know, I see,
Yeah.
what's going on in there, I don't, you know, and it's almost like
It gives you enough to not
it
meet up.
prevents you from really, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
knowing each other anymore, you know,
Yeah.
just because you're like, yeah, I've gotten enough of that. So I think that's awesome.
No, it
I
is.
would,
Yeah.
I'd love to like get, you know, back in touch and like actually like spend time with some of the people that, you know, that we hung out with back then.
That
Just
well,
kind of
we're gonna have TB 16 is here in Thailand. And see, this is the thing, that this is actually part of where I think this podcast is going in a way. Like I have this, it was a 20-year plan, but it's been a year down. Now I'm 41. So it's like when I'm 60, I want to be like blackout from social media, but I want to make sure by that time, by 60, it's like, if you're not my friend by 60, like I'm giving opportunities to new friends in the next 19 years, but it's like, you know, I'm not really interested in making any new friends after 60. So it's like, you know, any friends on
hey,
that.
I can't even keep up with the friends I do have, you know. I don't
Yeah,
need new ones.
exactly. Yeah. It's actually hard to even make a new friend. Really, I mean, it is a lot more difficult. So I want to have these annual events here in Thailand. And because it's like, it's expensive to buy a plane ticket, but it's not, it's so cheap here. And if I have my land and I've got a couple places, like I want to have it for like 2 months and then just kind of have it open. I've got a couple little guest houses. So it would be like you'd buy your plane ticket, but it's free to stay here and stuff. And maybe we can work on the land and do some stuff and just talk and do some activities. I want to create like this, TB party. Yes, every
Do
year.
they have Taco Bells out there?
No, they don't actually. That's the thing. They don't have Taco Bells. There's like McDonald's and Burger Kings and stuff. No.
I'll have to smuggle in some tortillas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that
Oh
was,
man. Yeah. So a little put it in a little perspective of why I'm just saying, you know, like, man, we really got to spend time, you know, with the people that we, you know, kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say I grew up with you, but I kind of grew up with you because I didn't grow up in high school, you know. I
yeah.
didn't grow up till
No,
I
that
was
was a
that.
huge
Yeah.
portion. That was definitely a turning point. And from kid to adult, I mean, you know, college, like you were hanging out, you were, even though you didn't live in the dorms, technically you were pretty much were at the dorms. That was my, that
Till I got
dorm
kicked
was
out.
the first transition. Yeah, we only stayed there for I mean, you know, Dan Cartola, Jake, and Brandon Ruff, who wasn't even, he was there and left for a little while. But I mean, yeah, that was kind of first time living outside of parents' house, and then we got our apartments and stuff. So yeah, that was a huge
Yeah.
turning point.
But over the last 4 years, okay, from Sierra College Wrestling, Chauncey Phillips, Todd Wilcox, Leland Gridley, and now Jesus Chavez have all died.
Wow. I only knew Chauncey. Yeah. Wow. And I didn't even really know him that well, but I mean, I remember I knew enough. I know
I mean,
I actually didn't ever wrestle him, but I mean, that was the only one. I didn't realize that many people. Wow.
Right. And this is only one of them was a car accident. The other were like natural, just
Yeah.
like we're getting to the point where, people are dying. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We need to, spend time with each other and everything while we can, like whether it's, on a screen like this, like whatever we can do, but we need to feel like we need to stop drifting apart from each other so much, everybody.
Absolutely.
And everybody, it's, and I think about like, how was it so easy for us to always hang out all the time without any social media, without like, some of us maybe had cell phones, but like, they weren't.
It was a track phone. I mean, yeah, like
like,
I mean,
but
just
like,
text, my numbers, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like back then, it's like, dude, we would just go knock on each other's door, see if you're home, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
no, that, yeah. No, when I did have,
and obviously, I can't do that. I can't show up in Thailand like, no, hey, what's up, Chris? But I don't know. Part of it's I think we had no responsibilities.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like, yeah, we just kind of. I mean, it felt like we had so much time in a day back then, and it feels like we got no time in a day now, and that's I think part of just being older, and part of just like you got responsibilities and things to do, and
absolutely,
yeah.
But yeah, to go on that point, it is funny how like social media makes us like, like it's just enough to like I almost feel like you're able to see some things I post, I see things you post, and it almost feels like we're connected, but actually we never, like, a little bit about what I'm doing, I know a little bit about what you're doing, but yeah, we don't really know anything.
Right, yeah.
And we only
I'll say things and I'll be like, yeah, my friend Chris David, and my wife will be like, who? And I'm like,
Chris David, you don't know him.
Chris David. Yeah,
no, I did the same thing. I said Chris Hammer to my wife, and it didn't ring a bell to her. And I was like, how could you not know Chris Hammer? Right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I think when I had, this will, all the people that know us will get to gain something from this conversation. Oh yeah. And then that might give them, we probably missed things that were more significant to someone else that, oh wait, why didn't you guys talk about that? Because everyone's got different aspects that maybe would stand out and want to delve into, and that will. I think you'll probably connect. Somebody will listen to this and reconnect with you. Maybe somebody, because I'll tag you. That's okay that I tag you. I know I said a couple inappropriate things that maybe made you a little uncomfortable, but
you're gonna edit it, right? I don't know. Yeah,
can't. No, it's raw footage all the way. But you didn't do anything. You can't. You're not responsible for what I said, right?
Right. Yeah.
I will on my snippet though. I won't put anything. So yeah, I do the raw footage, and there's very few people that watch the whole thing all the way through. My little like, I'll actually condense this to like 10 minutes, which is still a long time, and I'll get all the good fun things I'll try to put in a 10-minute punch, and I try to keep that one clean and cool and stuff. And then I put the link. Hey, if you want to watch our whole conversation, go here. Anybody that watches the whole conversation is going to be willing to maybe hear a couple inappropriate things, but to some extent. But yeah, no, yeah, man, that's the. So wait, yeah, a little bit about I mean, we both talked about wives. You're married, right? You got married for how long?
Coming up on 2 years.
Nice. And then how long were you together?
It'll be, so basically our wedding anniversary is almost the same as our dating anniversary, so it'll be 5 years when
okay
in October.
Yeah, okay.
Two married, 5 total. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that's kind of how I do. Yeah, I look at. I mean, I pretty much.
That's why I made it happen that way.
Yeah. You should make the exact date. Yeah, so you can. So yeah, Jake was, I think, did Jake get married on his birthday or something? Like, I think, yeah, I don't know if that, yeah, I think he got married on his birthday or something. It makes it easy to remember. That's like the
Yeah,
best way to
yeah.
go.
He our wedding anniversary is October 16th. Our dating anniversary was October 20th. Which was easy to remember because it was Snoop Dogg's birthday.
Yeah.
It's you know, his half birthday is 420, you know, like all that stuff makes it
Yeah.
easy to remember.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I was gonna say, oh, perfect, 11 days after my cat's birthday. So that would have been, I was like, that's
perfect.
good thinking to do that. Yeah.
Uh,
11,
but
11,
then
11, 1, 1.
like I mean the wedding anniversary, October 17th, is a little bit more challenging sometimes because I put it in the big earthquake in '89 but it was October 17th, you know, so it's like every once in a while I'll sit there and go like 16th, yeah, you know, so
Okay,
yeah, that can be a little challenging, but that's all right. My wife forgets my birthday constantly, and it's literally exactly 1 week after hers. Hers May 15th, I'm May 22nd, and she thinks I was born May 21st all the time. So it's like so easy to
Elijah
remember.
Rennie.
What's that?
2 days after Elijah Rennie's. He's
Minus?
Yeah, May 20th. He's May 20th.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a common. That's actually that
I
area.
do know a lot of people with birthdays right in that.
Yeah. So what's 9 months before that lovemaking season? Obviously, May, June, July, August. You got 3. Oh, August. That's when I was born. That's actually August must be the lovemaking season.
I guess so.
All conceived in August, September area. Kind of that summer to fall.
Leo season, all the lions.
Yeah. That's actually my son's name. Wirun Santichaya Butkraisi. That last Butkraisi means son of lions because my wife is also a Leo.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we got so how did you guys meet? In the gym? So at that point you're already, I guess, okay, so you're in your prime, or your Nick's prime, like you had a prime in wrestling, and then right. you had a prime kind of in your working out, like you were competing at that time, and you just because you always turn head. I remember you made somebody crash, you were like running, jogging with your shirt off back in Sierra, and there's like a girl, she turned her head and then boom, she like rear-ended somebody.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I met her. I actually first met her in 2011. And we dated for a little bit, and it kind of fizzled out, and then we got back together like later on. Okay. And the way I met her is she worked with Cody Sheehan.
Oh, interesting. In Sacramento-ish area. Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, Cody. Is he still in? You still talk to him? Yeah. See, I mean,
I think he's out here like Fair Oaks or something. Yeah.
Yeah. These podcasts can actually spawn. Kind of. I'm gonna get like Brian Holt and Jesse Bastion. Jake talks to them. I don't really talk to them anymore, but he talks to them, and he called them out on a podcast. So Cody Sheehan. Yeah, I got to get him on here.
How did he? So he keeps in touch with Brian Holt. I've tried to find him on social media and stuff.
Okay, he might not. Brian Holt, he said he's doing really well, and like, yeah, he said there's all kinds of things. Yeah, all kinds of things going on. I got to catch up with them.
Yeah, I think social media would have been better too for us if it was around back then, because at that time we would have like all added each other. We would all know, like. And whenever we did want to get back together, like something like this, we'd be able to. But
now
it's like you gotta like, oh, remember that guy? Let me see if I can find him. And then you can't find it. It's some people.
Yeah. Well, some people go like, some people for whatever reason, usually a good reason, kind of cut themselves out. It's a little too extreme for me to do. Like, I remember like Chris Adams. You probably couldn't get a hold of Chris Adams if you tried, because he's not on social media. He cut himself out. And I was like, are you sure you want to do that? And it's funny because Facebook doesn't let you out that easy. You can't permanently delete your account until it takes like 90 days, and they'll send you like emails and stuff. I think I might have done it, or somebody said it, or something like, and they'll send you emails of, they've got like an algorithm to know exactly who you are connected, and they'll be like, you just got a like from this person, and they'll make it, and they're like, you don't have, it's still available, like you can sign back in, we haven't permanently deleted it yet. So it's hard. So I actually give props to anybody who has disconnected themselves, but then it's at the same time, it's like, well, how the hell are we gonna get a hold of you, man?
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, yeah, it'd be cool to be off of that so that you do start having more meaningful relationships with the people that you know, and but then on the other hand, it's like
you'll come crawling back. They all do.
Like, how would you have ever found me, or vice versa?
Exactly. Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'd have to,
like
ask somebody. Yeah, it'd be really hard. And
right. Yeah. I mean, people
do it. My uncle keeps
thousands of
contacts
years
by letters. Like he's got
right.
all these friends that he met on, like, yeah, they have, is the Christmas cards. That's the way to do it, is like, and I like it. I like how like Corey Bonnet does his Christmas cards. Do you get his Christmas cards?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the old school, was at least one time a year, and Christmas makes time, Christmas, the holidays, New Year, whatever it is. I mean, that was one way to connect with everybody, but then, all it takes is if during that year somebody moved and your mail doesn't get forwarded or whatever. I mean, it would be easy to lose contact with somebody, and I'm sure he has lost contact with people permanently. It's easy to lose, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe I should do Christmas cards this year.
And I've never really been one to just like call somebody like, hey, how you been? Like, I don't know.
Even like in high school or anything? Or
some people are like very social like that, and I've just never been, I mean, I definitely would do that more often back then because that was the only way.
I think I got a couple calls, just, hey, see David, what are you doing?
Probably, I think about it and I'm like, how did we stay in touch? I don't know. Like, I'm just like, it's we just seem to always be in the same place for a while, No, it's definitely,
I mean, it's interesting times. Yeah, I mean, it has to do with the time period. There definitely was a lot of changes. Yeah, how we connect, and then also we're at an interesting stage in our life. I think we may be it seems like, it doesn't seem like, it seems significant. It seems like, wow, it'll never be like that. But I guess every age, I mean, people that grew up in the 70s, they had their thing, I mean, but it was definitely an interesting time that I don't think anybody outside of that era could really relate to. Just
right.
Sometimes,
man, it is wild. It's crazy to think that we've been alive longer after that than we were before that.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like so much more happened in that first half there,
Yeah. That's true. Well, I don't want to get into anything too controversial, or we can, but just what's it like in America now? So it's been over a decade since I did go back there one time. Actually, very thankful, because my parents visited me every year out here, and then one year my dad said he wasn't coming, and he was kind of cryptic in his message. So I felt like, okay, he might not be well. So I went back there and I saw him, and he actually died during that time that I was there, which was, I'm thankful for. He very peacefully too, and because I knew if I was actually dreading while I was there, I was thinking, like, I could tell, okay, he might not make it another year, although he was like in perfectly good shape. And he was working, like he worked his whole life, and doing this, everything is just, he went quick and slow and peacefully, but like he didn't really say anything and everything. Point being, I'm actually very thankful that I went back, saw him, spent time with him, and also that I didn't have to give him a hug goodbye, because if I did, I would have known, okay, he's not gonna make it in a year. So my point being, that was the only time I went back to America, and so it was quick. Although I did go to Pennsylvania, that's where, to see him. Then I went down to LA. I had to go to the immigration in the Thai embassy to get my visa because I had to leave the country to change my visa from a work visa to a marriage visa during that time. And then I went up to Orville, and it was actually during that time that I was in LA. Then I was going to go up to Orville to see him for his 75th birthday. That my brother called me and was like, hey, he took his last breaths last night, and like they were in the room with him, and you couldn't even tell when he died. So it was beautiful because, as you know, my research, I was the experience of death, or maybe you do or don't know, but I was doing it, and I talked to people who had just horrific experiences. I mean, you know, their loved ones they were in a hospital with them, and they threw up feces and then died. You know, it's like out of their mouth. I mean, it can be a horrific experience. So to have it something actually go well like that was like wow. And my mother's living with me now, and she's got like dementia. I mean, she's still very present and stuff, but her memory is like unable to have these like memory formation and stuff, and she may stay here during that time. But I do have this I am really interested in like that process of dying and the experience of dying, and for on a spiritual level, on everything. But what got me on this track was that I haven't been back to America except for that one time. I just had to say, okay, technically, yes, I was, but I didn't really get to see things. And even that was still 6 or 7 years ago. So yeah, what is it like? How has it changed? I mean, I see a lot of stuff on social media, weird stuff. And is there like a decay of society really going on, and people eat babies now, or what?
It was all serious right up until there.
Yeah.
They eat babies.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to know what's really going on. I mean, what kind of is everything cool or is not?
Dude, it's like I think it's one of those things, you know, like I definitely see it's like, wait, when did you leave? When
2012 was when.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's definitely different from then. But it's also one of those things where you're here for it, so it's like it happens gradually. You don't notice it change, you know, those kind of things. It's like if you grew 6 inches taller over the summer, but you looked in the mirror every day, you don't really feel like you did.
Yeah,
I've never experienced that. But
me either. No, I haven't. I wrestled 119s my freshman year and finished 119s. 133, 35, and fighting. I never had that growth spurt that they told us we were gonna have. That's for sure.
I think well, one, money, I just like I don't even understand money anymore. It's like Jesus, you know, like
did you ever? I mean, did it ever? Well,
no, probably not, but like you know, like I just think of stuff like oh yeah, that should cost, you know, $5 or whatever, and it's $20, and it's like just like everything where you're just like, Jesus Christ, you know, like I feel like I'm making good money, and it's like, not really, no, you know, like this would have been great money back then, but now it's, you know, and I feel like it's happened quickly recently, you know, like say I don't know 5 or 6 years or so, like that's just been like
inflation, like cost of living, rent, like what's rent now? Because I mean, rent was expensive back in college. I mean, you know, it took 4 of us to get together and rent an apartment for $1,000 or something. What are we talking about?
But yeah, I mean, thank God I'm paying a mortgage now and not rent. So it's gonna stay the same, you know, and all of that. But I mean, I don't think you can find a place for less than probably. I mean, I'm kind of out of it because I don't know. You know, I looked in it, but
of course, Rockland area was more expensive during that.
Right, but I'm out in Sacramento right now. I'm like in like Rancho Cordova type area. You know,
could you get a place for $1,000?
Like
no, not even.
No, I don't think you can get a place for 2,000. You probably. I'm guessing probably 3,000 is about, you know, what it's costing to rent a place. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, you know, like back when we were renting, 4-bedroom apartments for $800 a month, that
Yeah.
in Rockland, no less, like
Yeah. Rose.
I,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't afford nothing in Rockland anymore for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and even in Sacramento, it's just
Wow, that's crazy.
it's wild, man. I don't know. What currency do you use
Thai
out
bot.
there?
It's Thai. Yeah, it's a zone. We got our own
What's
Thai
it
bot.
called?
Thai bot. It's called bot.
Bot?
Bot.
Like robot?
BAHT. Yeah. And it's
Bot. Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Yeah.
see, this is what's interesting about inflation in America. People don't realize it. I think living in America, you feel inflation, but the dollar is like it's probably other countries are probably hurting a lot more because although there are a lot of countries kind of wean off the dollar in some senses, but that really hasn't happened yet. It probably will, but the dollar is more powerful. So for instance, I used to get 29 baht to the dollar. Now it's like 36. I mean, that's so now I don't make dollars anymore. I kind of do, but yeah, I work for a company. So I'm an English teacher online. My students are Chinese students. I worked for some companies before and they paid you in dollars. Those companies actually all kind of fell apart. And now I just work privately, kind of directly with the parents. When the companies fell through, the parents contacted me and they, so I tell them to pay me in Thai baht, but it was at a time when the dollar was high. So that was the price they were used to paying. But like a lot of the reason the companies went down is because the dollar went up and the Chinese yuan, it wasn't, Americans were the most people that were working for these companies, either English as well. But like the point is the dollar's strong. The dollar's strong right now. The dollar has like, if you look at like when JJ was living in Laos, it doubled. Like you got twice as much Lao kip in dollars. So even the inflation you're feeling inflation. Actually, the dollar's strong right now. The dollar's strong during times of hardship because generally people do think, okay, the dollar's more stable. It is. So actually, dollars that are coming in go further, and so it actually really helped me when inflation and when you guys are hurting, it's actually better to live abroad. The dollar goes farther.
Right.
Yeah.
So it even though it can buy much less in America, it can buy more in other countries still.
Yeah. Interesting.
So whenever it gets too high, just gotta skip the town to.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I want. This like, yeah.
How far do I gotta go? Canada? Will that work?
I don't know. I think Canada's probably similar to
Probably,
in fact, there's a time when there's a time. I mean, remember when you get like a Canadian nickel or something back as change and you'd be like, there was actually a time in the Canadian cent, I mean, they pretty much got the same system as it actually was worth more for a second. Like, I don't know what it is now. So the Canadian and US is pretty similar. And then, and the one funny thing is like, now people are always so the American dollar is considered the world reserve. Like that's and before it was the dollar, it was like the British pound, and I think before that was the franc. I mean, they go back and there has always been like a world reserve. But what's interesting is the dollar, as far as I remember, has never been stronger than the British pound. So it's almost like it's always like you never get 1-to-1. It's always been
right.
The dollar has the European euro. It's gone back and forth at times, but so I'm almost thinking it might be better off if America's not the world reserve because it seems like being the one that you were the world reserve is actually more value. It seemed
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
so it might be good for the dollar.
I mean, we're in how much debt to China at this point, though? So like,
yeah, that goes back to like when you said you don't even understand money. Yeah, I don't know.
Can we really say we're that strong?
Yeah, I don't even understand that the whole monetary system is weird. It's hard to. So yeah, my new philosophy it has been
supposed to be like the
time.
richest country in the world, but we're like in more debt than we.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. I try to buy my way out of the system, which was buying our land out flat, which was cool that we were able to do that, not have any mortgage, and just develop the land little by little. Labor is extremely cheap over here. Materials are much cheaper. So we've just been slowly building. And yeah, so I've got guest houses. So you're welcome to come. And
what's it cost for a ticket out there?
I mean, well, see, I haven't looked in a while. It used to be $1,000. It's probably closer to 2,000. I don't know. I think it is if you do it in advance. I think it's
if you just that's the thing about travel. If you just got to find the right pocket, you know, it can be like such a big difference, you know, based on when.
Yeah, once you're here, it's. I mean, actually, the funny thing is, remember when I went to India twice, and one of the times I went to India was when I graduated Sierra College and was going to Sac State the following semester. Even at that time, it was cheaper for me to fly in India, live there for 2 months and back than rent an apartment. I actually was able to fund that trip by not having an apartment. I remember showing up to Sac State. Actually, I missed the first day of school because there's weird things happen. I was actually I remember flying back and going to Sac State my first day of school, having missed the actual first day of school. So I showed up like on Tuesday if school started on Monday, not having an apartment, but catching up with that 16 and V house. If you ever, that was Mark Sotto's house. Eli lived there, and I was able to find that, but I was like living in their basement for a little while. But I was able to stay in India, and I was backpacking and sleeping outside and stuff. But it was so cheap to live there, even, 50-cent meals and stuff, or less than that, even that I was able to travel and plane ticket, and it was actually cheaper than having just lived in over the summer in an apartment.
I can tell you, even like within America, like there's places so much cheap. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but I mean, back
compared to California, yeah, right.
Back in like 2005, when I went to Indiana for the year, it was, like I had $1,500 and it lasted me the year.
Wow. Yeah. But the minimum wage, I mean, you probably do make less money, but it seems like.
But I wasn't working. I was.
You had
I had my $1,500.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that's the way to go, and that's how it is. I mean, out here, like if I were to give advice to anybody, it would be to retire out here. I mean, it doesn't make sense not to. I mean, except of course, you've got systems, or at least, I mean, even to have like a summer. I mean, So, or I mean, not a summer, actually, winter would be the time. That's the best time to come out here because it's so hot. Cool winters, like up here in the north. And then, I mean, if I knew what I was going to do, like I came over here with no money, but I did have that chunk of. I didn't have much of it by the time I got here, but that 5,000 that I was like, oh, when I won that, or I lost that last fight, but I had the money. But like, it would make sense. Like if I planned it, if I knew that this is where I was going to live, I definitely would have. If I knew this is where it was like my final destination, this is where I want to live, I would have like just worked for like 1 year and saved up like $10,000, $20,000, something, or like just gone hardcore, living out of my car and just making, try to make it much. It would have went so far over here.
Right. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, I could sell my house. I've got, 100-something thousand in equity. And it's like, how long would that last you out there?
Forever. I mean, yeah. Right. No. I mean,
I'd be a rich person.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, $1,000 a month here is really good. I mean, cause like rent is like, you can get a nice place for $200. I had a place nice overlooking the
it'll last me 100 months.
100 months. Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you wanted to struggle, it lasts you 200 months. You could, $500 is like kind of, but that's, I mean, average. I mean, there's a lot of Thai people who live off less than that. I think average, like middle is about $1,000, but a lot of people would say less. I mean, I'm not saying the general population, but cool. Yeah. $1,000 is clean.
Then if you take like, 10,000 of that and you invest it in something in America that's making, American money.
Yeah. If you could invest that 100,000 and earn $1,000 a month off it, which might be possible if you do the right kind of investment. I don't know. Yeah, you could live off your investments. You'd still have your chunk. That would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
And now one of the reasons why it's so cheap, I mean, but yeah, you could live off renting a place. To buy stuff, one thing that makes it cheap is that you can't, as a foreigner, you can't own actual property. That's good though, because so my wife owns our land and it'll go to, or my son too as well, you know.
Yeah.
But technically I can't own it. Like foreigners can't buy land. They do come over here and buy 99-year leases for about the same price as maybe a Thai person would buy the land, but it will always go back to the Thai person. That, which is good, because then you don't get these foreign companies buying large land, developing it, and then they own it, which has happened, I think, every other country in Southeast Asia, because they were colonized and had this stuff. And Thailand never was colonized. They did have to give some of their land to the French because they blocked one of their boats going into the Bangkok harbor or something. They needed to do some concessions and stuff, but they were like this buffer zone between British and French colonialism, because French was on the western side where you had Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam, and then on the on the eastern side, and on the western side was Myanmar, and down south was Malaysia. And so there's these two colonial powers, and they kind of saw Thailand as like, okay, if either one of these countries try to take over, because they were probably had stronger military might, and but also at the time the king of Thailand recognized this, and he was actually educated in the West and understand Western culture and colonialism, and kind of made deals, and he was really intelligent and was able to preserve Thailand and kind of let all right, hey, if the English, if you guys invade, I'm gonna make sure the French are like, okay, we don't. It's kind of like Ukraine is now. I mean, I hate to bring that up, but it's like that. What Ukraine was kind of a nice buffer zone but at some point, when it's not, it's going to cause problems, and that's how Thailand was. Luckily, the king was a better diplomat, maybe, and just like letting everyone know, hey, this is a good buffer zone. Let's keep it that way. If either of you come in here, it's going to cause some geopolitical concerns, and everyone's going to lose. But of course, Thailand would be the biggest loser, just like we're seeing now. I mean, you know, these buffer zones are important. So that was cool. That was a cool thing. That's one thing I love about Thailand is their Thai-ness. They've never lost their cultural identity. They have this just loving, peaceful, respectful, and very hospitable. I think that goes deep in their culture. And even now, I've lived here a long time. I'll never gain that like Thai. I'll never be treated as a Thai person, which at first, when I first came here, I was like struggling, and then I accept it. I like they'll always treat me, even at some point I'll have lived in Thailand longer than anywhere else, and I'm not actually even that far away from that.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll be able to speak. I don't speak Thai fluently, but I speak well enough to, you know, communicate. And they do feel closer to me because you can speak Thai and stuff, and like, but like, it's, you know, I'm still treated as a foreigner, but that's actually a positive thing that they treat me well. And so it's beautiful that they're able to have that. And then of course the Muay Thai, they do also have this, you know, they wouldn't, you know, I mean, that's why I worry about like geopolitical situations with everything. I don't want there to be any war. I'm afraid they would unite in a way that who knows? I don't want to see that happen, because they've been through some crazy wars, like Myanmar, actually, before the English or the British imperialism or British colonialism. Myanmar invaded Thailand and actually ruled Thailand for like 250 years, but the Thai identity was able to withstand that. And this like Myanmar king had like 20 wives, some of them were Thai, but it's like they've been part of this Myanmar rule, and it wasn't a whole country. It's actually the region where I live in now, this northern Thai Lana kingdom. They had different kingdoms at that time. It wasn't united as one, but they were able to keep their identity. And yeah, one of these like, you know, wives of this Myanmar king or Burmese king ended up like poisoning him, and they had this like underground coup brewing for like over 200 years. I mean, so that generations went through, like, how did you not lose your identity? And then they overthrew that that king, and so that's part of their culture is really rich and deep and amazing, and it's yeah, it's really interesting to see.
So are you able to become a Thai citizen?
Technically, yes, there is a pathway. It's citizenship is really difficult. I could get permanent residency, but it's so like it's so such a like process that it's not certain. It's like this lottery system, they say, that probably means bribing government officials, and I don't know exactly who, and I don't want to bribe the wrong person and end up in jail, and I don't want to do the whole process, which is lengthy, expensive, and I have to fly to Bangkok, so there'd be money that I'd have to do that, and it's only once a year during this little window. 50 people from each country are able to become a permanent residency, and after you're a permanent resident for 10 years, you can apply for citizenship or something. And then it's like it's still not even so basically, yeah, I'm on a marriage visa, and I have to do that every year, and I have to still report to the immigration office every 90 days, and I might have to do that for the rest of my life. I'm hoping at some point there is an easier process that, like, okay, you've been here for 20 years and you have a Thai family that will give you citizenship, but it's so like it's not basically, yeah, it's not guaranteed. So you have to do all the paperwork and the money and pay all these fees to maybe get citizenship. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna do that.
And then what does that get you once you get, like,
nothing except I just
you can own land at that point, or no?
What's that?
You can own land at that point, or no?
Maybe there
or
are.
You have to be like a natural born citizen.
Yeah, I might. There might be eventually, but yeah, even there's not really that much. I think I could just have maybe an ID or something.
So can you vote right now?
No. Yeah, I don't even know if you'd ever be able to vote. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Just
yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, how many languages do you speak at this point?
Really only two. I forgot Japanese. I mean, I spoke Japanese well when I lived there and I studied. It's been so long.
You learned it in like a weekend, dude. It was like,
it was weird. Japanese was easy because it's this monotone, and their grammar was different, but to me it was easy. It kind of made sense. Thai's got the tone, so like there's less syllables by English. Like looking at it from an English perspective, it's like, wow, there's only these little sounds, but then you multiply that by 5 because there's 5 tones. So ma are 5 different words, potentially, at least. And so you've got, if you spell it using English letters, you're like, hey, what? I thought this word meant that. But you can't. You have to learn the alphabet. And I'm actually I like alphabet, so I started learning the alphabet when I first came here. I'm like, I'm not gonna even. I did the same with Japanese, like learn the alphabet of the language. If you try to, and it helped with my pronunciation, because if you try to spell it with English letters, you're gonna basically, there's their language and like English, none of the letters are the same. That's what I came to conclude. Like you have to relearn, and it's better to not even use English letters, because then you're gonna think that it sounds like those. Like ng is like, we have a fruit which is rambutan in English, but it's ngok, like ngok. And if you try to spell it in English, it's ngo, but then you're like ningo or something. It's ngok. It's like ngok. It has its own sound that we don't really have. We have it at the end of words like sing, and that's how I learned how to say that sound, singing, and then that second syllable, singing, ngin. But can you make that sound? Nga, like ngin.
No, I don't.
Kind of. Yeah, no, it took me like 6 months to do it, but
right. Yeah,
if
like,
you do it. So
like you always see that name that's like Nguyen.
Yeah, that's like Vietnamese. They've got that same sound. Yeah, that's a Vietnamese thing, but it's pretty much the.
And then like sometimes you'll hear people, then it's just like when. It's like they just don't even do the.
Yeah, it's a one. Yeah, it doesn't have. Yeah, if you try to pronounce the N and the G as separate sounds, that you won't. But if you just use the Thai letter and say that's ngọ, or that's ngọ, that's ngọ, then it's easy to see it. It's easier to actually speak if you know the alphabet.
Right. No. Yeah, I remember it was like, I mean, I hope I don't get you in trouble with your wife here or anything, but it was like you met a Japanese girl, and then like the next week you were speaking Japanese, like I think it was because I remember we went to the Olympics
Oh
out in
yeah. Oh, that's right. That was that week. Yeah, that was like the week after I
Salt
went.
Lake City, and
Oh,
like,
did I have my books already? I was like studying and reading. Yeah.
yeah, and you had just met her, and then like by the time we were like back, I'd hear you like on the phone with her, just Japanese, you know, like, and I mean, I know one thing, like when you hear someone speaking a language that you don't know,
Yeah.
you don't know how bad they are at it. So like,
Yeah.
so to me, it just sounded like, dude, this guy just speaks Japanese. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure if I knew Japanese,
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. You know, that's true for sure. But yeah, no. I mean, there was a time when I was living there that I was actually able to have, and I was studying philosophy. I was actually able to have like some philosophical discussions, but I couldn't do that anymore. But I can say like, you know, I can say, oh, like Nihongo, like omoidasu katu ga nakimasu. Like I've forgotten it all basically. Like I can say, but it's weird. I don't know. I know there are like polyglots and speak a lot of languages, but like if I try to speak Japanese, I end up speaking Thai. Like I forget. There's been a couple times there's been a Japanese person and I'll start speaking Japanese, but then it reverts to Thai. It's like my brain's got enough for one extra language, and
Right. Is Japanese and Thai, are they similar at all?
Not at all. No, not at all. No, Thai's probably more comes from like an Indian Sanskrit, and while Japanese came from like the like a Chinese based system, so they're different lines. Yeah, completely different.
Yeah,
lines.
Because I know, like, you know, at one point I had learned Spanish pretty well. At this point, you know, I've probably forgotten most of it, but I would be able to understand Italian. You know, I couldn't speak it, but I could understand it.
Yeah.
Just because it was similar
Latin based. Yeah. Thai, Japanese are completely different. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like, Thai is probably closer to English than it is. I mean, because Sanskrit came from like Aryan, sort of some weird something. It completely. Yeah, this one went down. I mean, travel.
I mean, like, I know they say there's like, I forget how many, but there was a certain number of like language families from which everything.
Thai's a different, completely different family. Although there are some, I mean, there are like Hmong, the Hmong, which I live in. I mean, Orville had a large Hmong community, which are like not part of a country,
right? Yeah,
but they actually are descendants. If you trace them back there, there's actually a large. They're the second largest minority in China. And
yeah, we know. We all watch Gran Torino. We know this.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. So,
I think that's where I learned about that.
No, the funny thing is but that language, so the Hmong language is actually can trace back to Chinese, like so that's not, even though there is a large Hmong community in,
but even
especially in my region.
Chinese, that's Cantonese and Mandarin, and I think there was another one that's like a.
They've pretty much they've big campaign to wipe Cantonese out. Although it's funny because in America, like a large portion, especially San Francisco, a large portion of the Chinese are from that Canton region, which is like Hong Kong, Guangzhou, southwest China. And so like all those words, like sometimes because I have all my Chinese students and I'll talk about all these Chinese foods and they don't know what they are. Those are all the Cantonese name for them. Wonton, dim sum. Most Chinese people don't know those words. And I'm like, oh, you don't know what dim sum is? Wonton, come on. Chow mein, or whatever. Those are come from the.
I know it makes me curious. Like, how close is Cantonese to Mandarin? You know, like
it doesn't sound that much like it. But the funny thing is they use they can read each other's papers. It's the language, they write it the same way, like with characters.
It's like
exactly the same. But the pronunciation is far enough away that they don't understand each other.
Right. I mean, is it like if you were talking, you know, someone from California versus someone from Louisiana.
No, it's not dialects. No, there are also dialects, but it's Cantonese is far enough away from Mandarin they can't understand each other. But there are dialects. Like yeah, Chinese has a lot of dialects. Like from like Shanghai and Beijing, they'll have different dialects, but they're both Mandarin. So there's a big. They're trying to kind of like. I mean, the government's kind of like Mandarin is like there are regions that try to use their native dialects. They're really big push to it's Mandarin. They're kind of trying to I mean, when I talk to students, I have students in that Guangzhou area, their grandparents can speak Cantonese and they can't. Like that there's a big push, like kind of makes it hard for you to speak Cantonese. They might speak a little bit to their grandparents, but it'll be wiped out. Cantonese will probably be wiped out in another generation. Like that's their campaign. And I mean, that's happened all over. I mean,
yeah, there's dead languages out there, that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear there's like every 5 minutes a language disappears or something. I mean, you hear all.
Well, I mean, every once in a while they'll find like artifacts and stuff that are written in a dead language, and then it's like, like then you have like linguists that piece it together from, like this is kind of an origin from, this language, and then, like almost like the spelling bee people do it, it's kind of wild that like this is pretty off topic, but but the spelling bee, I think about that, and they're like, it's like language of origin, like those, they ask those things, and you think, oh, they're so smart, they know how to spell so many words, but it's like they don't know how to spell those words, but they know how to put it together based on the language of origin and how, like in that language, what they do. So it's like
EIGH is going to be A. Yeah. It's like,
it's even more impressive because it's like they just know every language,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but anyways, that's a bit off.
No, it's nothing that's happened.
So yeah. I don't think I could be in the spelling bee. I wouldn't make it.
No.
No, but so yeah, I was the reason I was saying like how many of you speak, because how do you teach English to Chinese speakers without speaking Chinese?
Yeah. So it started out, or if I work for a company, because they don't actually, even there are people who speak Chinese and they say they don't want them to, because they have Chinese English teachers in school that
okay, so you're not
explain the grammar to them. So if I have a platform and I work the companies, in the past I worked for Chinese companies, and I could actually teach, like I would teach 4-year-olds who know no English, but I've got the platform, it's got lesson cards, and maybe there will be some things written in Chinese, or there's enough pictures. Some I've worked for different companies, some were really good with their visuals and stuff. It was created in a way that the purpose was to just get immersed into English, just boom. And they've got other courses in other places to learn grammar. But now all my students are I only took my students who are at a conversational level, and that's my purpose. That's what they're looking for. And it's great. Yeah, it's great because I don't really actually have to teach English so much. I will as we have a conversation. And
it's like teaching an English class in America. English, like
kind of, exactly.
Not as a second language, but just
exactly, exactly.
So that's interesting, because it's like, because I just think about like, it's like, okay, you say this word and you're like, and it's like, what does that mean? And this means table. This means like, I don't know what it means in Chinese or what.
But, exactly. Right. And it's actually a better way to learn. Actually, the way like I took French in high school, and it was there was so much English spoken that it's like it would be better to just immerse yourself in it for 1 hour a day and just talk. Just speak like I
mean, that's how we learn language to begin with, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah,
you're a baby, you're not like
you don't have to learn through another language. Yeah.
Wait, what does that mean in my language? It's like
exactly
from gaga to like dada, whatever. Which is, talk about some impressive people, man. Babies learn a language from scratch without like anything to relate it to, just
exactly that. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, no, it's fun to watch my son. He's like bilingual. He can code switch because like my mom's here, and of course she only speaks English. He knows that I can speak both languages, but he knows English is. We try to do it, so I just speak English, and my wife speaks Thai. To him, he's able to switch back and forth. She'll say something to him in Thai, he'll go run, tell me in English. I'll answer in English. He'll run back and tell his mother in Thai. And sometimes if he doesn't know, he knows that he can speak Thai with me or English with her. But if it's grandma, she has no idea what is going on in Thai. So he knows he has to speak English. And then sometimes his pronunciation is wrong. He says, "Grandma, you don't know English," or something. "I'm speaking English," or something like. And then I mean, it's amazing to see him how he's doing it. And then he recognizes that people. Well, he'll speak to people out, and because he's a mixed, sometimes Thai people will speak to him in English, but very limited. And then
does he
he's
look
able to
kind of
like equally, like he can speak both. And code switch is the term where he can flip back and forth, and he can tell, okay, this person, he recognizes like at a subconscious level that there are two languages. He's gonna find out sometime there's even more than that, and a lot more. There's a lot more than that, and we're actually trying to get him into Chinese too. We watch some Chinese stuff and stuff because it's useful language out here. There's a lot of Chinese tourists and stuff, and that's one of the things too. It's like, yeah, I mean, I know there's like this like China's like seen as this adversary to America. It's kind of promoted that way, and it's like, that they're like the Chinese people, and my Chinese students are so I have to give it to them. They're trying really hard to learn English, and maybe it's to take over our country, but they're doing it. I mean, what are we doing? And it's like they're really trying hard. I mean, yeah, I might be training potential. They might be learning English with me to learn American dialect to infiltrate our countries, because America is easier to infiltrate because we've got so many different cultures, and like you could be a Chinese American and get into our government a lot easier than it would be like you're not getting into very high into the Chinese government if you're not Chinese. Like they can trace your families, and hey, you don't look Chinese, man, you're not gonna join our parliament or whatever. So there is that, but at the same time, they care about our culture. They know about our culture. They know about our holidays. They are interested in it. They study it, and that's in a definite advantage they're involved in, and they're paying good money to pay me. Like I'm making I make in 1 hour what a Thai person, an average Thai salary is half for a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the average Thai salary, well, labor salary. So like, which is funny, out here, labor is the lowest. Like I say, when I get people to work a day on my land to help, like to build a house, that includes electricity, masonry, and everything, and I give them like 25% more, the going rate is like $20 a day. So it'd be like $15 a day, and $15 a day for like labor, hard labor, and that's and I'm able to make maybe $25 in an hour. So almost when I was in some cases $30, almost twice the going rate for an hour in a day. So I only work 1 day a week, and I try to work like 8 hours a day, and I'm able to live pretty well out here. So it's just like put some things into perspective, and think I'm able to make maybe $1,000 a month. Now I've kind of upped it because my students I like to give them freedom to take time off, and it's summer holiday and stuff. They're taking time off. So I'm like, okay, I better open up 2 days, but I won't work 8 hours each day. I might work 10 to 12 hours over Saturday and Sunday, and I'm able to make enough and I don't have any rent or anything. I'm able to make enough to live pretty comfortably. I do have to create my own retirement system. I'm not, I don't have anything. I never worked long enough paying taxes to make enough money to have like Social Security, but I'm creating a system. I call it buying your way out of the system. I'll have enough land developed that I can just kind of live off the land, hopefully create some system that generates a little bit of income, which I think I'll be able to do. Will be very minimal. but yeah, so that's so yeah, my Chinese students are you know, they're from big cities, Shanghai and Beijing, and for them it's real, it's similar to America, or maybe even more, or like California, you know, high, like, you know, $25 an hour, $30 an hour for them, to for their student to get, you know, some one-on-one English. And I do create lessons for them based on their interests and everything, but a lot of just conversation. It's worth it to them to pay that much. It's much cheaper than they could get anywhere else. It would be like, I mean, yeah, to put it in perspective, when I was in Japan, I was making $50 an hour teaching English, and I had no teaching English experience. I just made this profile. People would pay to meet up with me, to just have a conversation, and they'd buy my tea or coffee or something that I'd have at the coffee. We'd meet up at a coffee shop, have a conversation for an hour, and I'd leave, and they'd give me $50, and all I did was talk. I had no like lesson plan really. So I mean, it is interesting to know this, like to recognize like how valuable it is and how lucky we are. Not everybody takes advantage of that, but to be a native English speaker, and how high demand it is. Arab countries as well. Again, a lot of these countries are like our adversaries. So it's like, yeah, why do they want to learn English? I mean, I don't know what they'll use it for, but the fact that they're realize that they're paying money to do it, and I'm able to provide that more.
Well, I mean, it's also, I mean, it's not just that like they're, you know, trying to take over America. I mean, like, it's the most, you know, like,
yeah,
it's spoken everywhere. It's not just spoken here. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not necessarily learning it because they want to be my friend, but like, they are recognizing that it's a valuable
American ego of like, they're learning this for us. You know, it's like, it's just the language spoken everywhere. You know, like, I mean, it's like I mean, and I don't have statistics to back it up, but I think it's the most spoken language.
It is. No, it is. In fact, they said most, I'll give you a statistic, but somebody else can go and figure out exactly what it is. But it's basically that most English conversations in the world are spoken between two non-native English speakers. and by like a long shot, like most, I mean, you know, Indians are talking to Japanese in English.
Right, you know, but all those countries, it's like they learn that language and English, you know, like they just do.
Exactly.
You know, like,
No, it is. And what's interesting about English, it's probably one of the hardest languages to learn, because as you're talking about, it's got all these different origins. It's not Latin based, but there is Latin, there's Greek, there's Germanic tribes, because all these different countries were taken over. So it's kind of it absorbed a lot of languages, which make it hard to learn, but it does have aspects of a lot of different languages.
Right. So it's like it'll have like these rules, but there's sometimes not that rule, and then there's, you know, so because it came from this origin, you know, like you see all the, I don't know, TikTok videos or whatever, where it's like, okay, tomb, that's, you know, then there's bomb, and it's like, so that must be boom, and it's like, no, that's
comb, comb, right, bomb, and tomb. Those are all pronounced differently. OUGH can be O off. Ooh,
right. It's
you're like watching TikTok videos to learn English. How did they come across?
I mean, I think that's the TikTok videos are to make fun of English, is what it is.
Oh, okay, okay,
but cool, man. Well,
is that 2 hours or almost 2 hours? Good. So,
2 hours,
So this is like I don't think many people will listen to the whole thing, but it's nice to have. It's up there, and this I hope to reconnect this way, but like next time we won't have to do the deep dive. I'll like, maybe there's some like event happens and we can talk about it, and I'll talk about it with different people, and also have like multiple because these Zoom meetings, we can have like multiple people and kind of have like a little get together where we have multiple people. Not too many, you know, 3 or 4 maybe most, but
you know, like I think I was just thinking, like, if we did like once a month or something where we just invited everybody,
and anybody can
from like that period of our lives, you know, Sierra College, and you know, like around, you know, like all of those, and it's like people can get on or they can get off or they can not go on.
Exactly. In and out. That'd be fun.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a production or something, you know, just something where it's like, you know, like, what's going on, everybody? You know, like,
Exactly.
Let's know each other again, you know? So,
Absolutely. And then eventually it's going to turn into the annual retreat on my land, and it'll be like a 2-month period. That's the plan. It's December and January when it's like it's the perfect weather here. It's cool. It's not raining anymore. It's over
right.
the rainy season. Cool, dry, and
We want to get
crisp
away
and
from
clear.
all that up here.
And you
So
just come and go. People can come and go. They can hang out. I got some guest houses and stuff or something. Maybe we'll build some more even, as like do these things. So that yeah,
you'll have them come out there to build you more guest
exactly.
houses.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. If there's so many people that we need more, like
Now,
I've got a
Chris,
couple, but if we need
that's
more,
called
then yeah,
slavery.
it's like a timeshare, you know what I mean? It's yours when you come here, but other people will use it when you're not here or something. So uh yeah, no, cool. Hopefully we meet again. It sure was nice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there will be a couple people that I bet after this that'll make some people reconnect with you or me that knew one of us but was more connected to one than the other, that they'll be, oh, I gotta connect back. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. I definitely am gonna have to get out of here at this point,
sure.
but yeah, let's try not to make it another 20 years or so before.
A- Absolutely, yeah. At
Yeah.
least only 10. No. All right, yeah. No, I like the idea of a monthly virtual TB party.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we finish these things? Do we get like a
Just
ready break or
yeah, it's just come
uh,
on, something. All right.
uh,
Bye bye.
Wolverine
Love you.
on three? No,
Yeah.
just that's it.
Push
Okay.
push push the red button. We're
Red
gonna go.
button.
I'll do this. This is how I do to my Chinese students. Bye. And then as I go off, when you don't see me anymore, I'm gonna push the red button. Bye bye.